Right, so welcome back to Car Dealer Pro then. This week we've had a question in the comments that we want to address, and this is more sort of like your ideal car pitch or car dealership going forwards, but we want you guys to tell us as well what your answer to this question would be. So it was a guy, JHad1478. He said, "Hi guys, another great episode, and I'm currently considering setting up in the car trade myself. I have around £120,000 I can invest. Have you got any advice on what I should do? Any feedback? Any feedback would be greatly appreciated." So 120k, you're starting from scratch again. What would you do with it?
Yeah. And in the comments.
Yeah, get in the comments. What would you do with that 120k as well?
So not just our opinion.
Your opinion. We want you guys to tell us. Because we know
that the majority of people that watch this are more.
Yeah, you like us. You're in the trade. Yeah.
So for me, 120 grand. Firstly, I'd leave I'd spend 100 grand on cars.
Right. Okay.
And I'd leave 20 grand in the bank.
Yeah.
So I'd try and buy 20 5-grand cars. That's what I try and do.
25. Yeah.
So £25,000 cars.
I thought you meant 25,000 cars.
So, yeah,
I bought 4 cars.
That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
If he buys 4 cars.
You're just going to be stuck on it. One, it's going to be slow turnover, isn't it, with that? Yeah. And it's going to be stuff that sticks. But if you've got 20 fill a pitch nicely with just 20 cars.
Well, number one, you can rent a unit.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of units out there where you can fit 20 cars in, or 15 cars. You can have 5 floating about, body shop, whatnot. The other great thing, if you get 20 cars, you're going to be able to employ a valeter. Because then, and the biggest, hardest thing about this job, if you're trying to do everything on your own, is getting to the body shop, getting to the MOT centre. You need that. Even if you're thinking in your head, oh well, I could just sub it out to the hand car washers.
Yeah.
For me, like Wayne, a great asset to the company is that Wayne, let's just go to body shop.
Exactly.
Let's go there. It's not just valeting cars.
We've got someone here all the time that we can lean on to for helping us. Something's buried at the back of the pitch, right, let's get on it together and get it out. We need to go, like you say, pick something up from the auction as well sometimes too. You need that drive extra person, because you can't drive 2 cars at once.
Exactly.
And the delivery fees are a fortune, aren't they? So,
and in the beginning, when money's tight,
you've got to try and save every single penny, haven't you?
Definitely. So getting some... And even if it's just to start off with a part-time valeter, 3 or 4 days a week, it'll still help you get the cars moving.
I suppose it's thinking about, for us, it's like Monday always tends to be the day when we end up doing everything, isn't it? Like something's happened at the weekend, everything gets taken to body shop, or auto electricians are moved around. Like, get a part-time one, plan your week around what are your busiest days, and have them in on your busiest days.
Yeah, definitely. Because psychologically, when I imagine when he's first starting out, he's thinking, oh God, I don't want to employ people, and he's going to be a bit scared to employ someone. So just get someone part-time. That's what I'd say. And then, get your 20 cars. For me, 20 cars is important because that will keep you busy. That will keep the cash flow to keep the business growing.
Would you say that's like the magic number for a small pitch, 20 cars?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you can do it with 12, 15, but for me, 20 is, you can have 15 advertised, and then you can have 5 in prep.
And you're just going to fill a slot with that one. Once it's sold, just fill it with the one that's in prep or closest to the end of prep.
So once you've sold one, the one that's in prep sort of is then ready to go onto your next slot on Auto Trader. So next thing, Auto Trader, get 15 slots on Auto Trader. Don't buy 20 slots when you've got 20 cars, because there's 5 that aren't ready.
Because we do the same, don't we? We've got I think it's 40 slots at the minute, something like that.
And there's always about 50 around us.
Yeah. So because again, some are in prep, some just aren't advertised for different reasons. You've got to have that, so that when we sell a car, we always do it. Then it's like, take that down. Right, what can we put there? Bang, straight in. And it's done. Even if it's just a holding picture for that time.
Definitely.
It's ready to go.
And then the other thing is, if you have a really good week, and say you've got 15 slots, but you've sold, I don't know, you sold the X amount of cars. Even if the cars aren't ready, you can then advertise them.
Yeah.
You know, so at the minute we've sold loads of cars. There's probably only 40 here at the minute.
Yeah, well, I'd say probably less than that on site at the minute,
with
wouldn't you
ones
say?
arriving. So even though we've got 40 slots, I can still advertise 40.
Yeah.
Even just say on the advert, you know, awaiting preparation. But the main thing is to get, I think, just get them 15 slots on Auto Trader, and like say have 5 in prep, have 15 prep. I mean, it's not going to work like that all the time.
No. But if
as long as you've got a plan,
that's your recipe that you're working towards.
That's it. That's the magic formula.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's like you've got 120. It seems like a lot of money when you first think about it, but then when you buy a lot of stock, it's not actually that much money. Consider what's there, is it?
Well, that's the thing. You know, that is the worst mistake. You think, I've got all this money, and you go to the auction, and he's gonna have to be really strict with what he buys, because you've got that money burning a hole in your pocket. And there'll be stuff going through the block, and you'll be like, oh, well, that one's like 12 grand. Oh, and I really like, don't get emotional.
Yeah.
Oh. Nancy. Right, so my little girl's just walked in and knocked the camera.
Yeah, so we
half term, so
you can't not bring her in. It was funny yesterday when it was.
I can't leave her at home.
No. I think that's.
I'd like to, but
I think that's fairly good parenting there. Don't leave her at home on her own. But also, I enjoyed it yesterday when you were like, you took her for. Well, you went out to the post office and got some lunch, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was like, what car do you want to take? And then she was stood on the pitch, almost like, what if I go in that? And she was properly thinking about it, wasn't she?
She picked the brightest coloured one, didn't she?
That was it. Yeah. She didn't bother what it is.
Picked a mini though, so you'd like that.
There we go. What can I say? Influence.
But yeah, go back to that then about, you've got all this money in the bank and you're going to be at the auction or wherever, and you're going to be so tempted to
blow it all
on a 10 grand, 15 grand car.
Especially
one that you like as well.
Yeah,
or one that you've had yourself. You know, when I first started, I was a stickler for golfs.
Yeah.
Because I've always loved a golf. So then when I went to the auction, I was like, oh, that's like that golf I had, and I always wanted the newer version.
God, could you imagine me with 120 grand and I'd come back and it'd just be, again, I'd turn it into a mini.
We'd go bankrupt.
Oh yeah, I know. I can feel everyone's hands getting near keys in comments. But I think, again, like say, you take that 100, you get 25 grand cars, you've got that 20 grand in the bank, but again, that's a nice safety net, isn't it? It's not thinking about, I've got that 20 grand to spend on whatever I want then.
Yeah,
that's that 20 grand to prep cars, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, you're probably not going to spend 20 grand, but you just need that safety net, don't you? The main thing as well, what it's got to do is, this is just me, set up your bank account in sub-accounts. So overheads, profit, your stock account, and then your VAT and tax. So first up, when you first started, you've got that 20 grand, probably, I'm just thinking, well, you can't put any of it in the profit account because there's no profit yet. All your stock is going to be bought, so you can't, put it in the stock. VAT and tax, maybe put 5 grand in VAT and tax.
So you're ready.
Just so you're ready if and then leave the rest, 15 grand in overheads. Mm-hmm. And that should be enough. As long as you're buying nice cars. That's it. You've just got to get. I suppose it's also the thing, isn't it? Of like, if you've got 120 grand, would you say maybe like, don't buy 20 all in one go. Maybe buy 10 first and just get used to get used to the process of doing it. But still, just keep 20 grand in the bank. Don't put the rest of that 70 grand in. Say you've got. Put 15 grand in overheads, 5 in your VAT and tax account, and you've spent 50 grand on 10 cars, and then stick the other 50 grand in your stock account. Yeah. So it's there, ready to use. Don't put it in your profit or somewhere else. No. Profit's just when you've took the profit from the car, where you take 5%, and I'll put that in there. So if we sell the car, it's got a grand profit in. 60% stays in overheads, 20% goes to VAT and tax, 15 or 10%, I can't remember, goes to stock, and then 5% goes to profit.
Yeah.
And then I give myself dividends. So that's what. And when I first started, I didn't know all this stuff. I didn't have a bloody clue. So all the money was just in one bank account, and then I'd spend it all.
It's more difficult to keep track of than as well as like going back through it. Yeah.
And then you'd have to prep the cars, and then when you sell a car, you've got like 10 grand. You think, great, I can go and buy a 10 grand car, but you can't.
Yeah.
You need to be thinking of all that.
I suppose when you've got like, if you've got just 50 grand in one account compared to like 5, 6, 10 split across 5 or 6 different accounts, so much easier to be in that mindset of like, well, I can just spend whatever I want on this, exactly. And then all of a sudden that 50 grand's 20 grand, and then you're going bankrupt.
It's whittling away.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, you then feel desperate to sell cars, and that's what you never want to be. You never want to be, because customers can sniff you out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's desperate to sell this, and
that's when you start chipping away, and all your margins gone then into if that becomes the case, if you're desperate.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what I'd do. And another thing I wouldn't do is go out and buy a shitload of Fiat 500s. Little cars.
Yeah.
Minis. Minis are alright, but I just wouldn't. Them Fiat 500s, it's just got no like margin in them.
No. They've managed to make, I don't know how, a marginless car.
Yeah, it really is.
I think it's
come
because
£200-300 if you look at it.
I think maybe it's just because like the market's flooded with them.
There's
so many about, isn't there? Yeah. All like very similar specs as well. In many cases,
You're up against the world, aren't you?
Yeah.
But it's weird, I know, it's like a Fiesta. You're up against the world with a Fiesta, but for some reason, and this might be just me, I find it really easy to sell a Fiesta.
Oh, Fiestas we always say it, don't we, like Fiestas and Focuses. If we're ever going to specialise in anything, that probably would be the way forward.
Maybe it's just the
just
area.
Not the EcoBoost.
Not the EcoBoost, So this is all trial and error. What he's got to do, he's got to find what cars suit him. Another thing not to do is go and buy 25 grand BMWs or Mercedes with like 150,000 miles on the clock.
Again, this is where you've got to talk yourself out of buying the stuff that you like, because when you see we went to the auction the other week, didn't we, and there was that really nice Audi Allroad that was going through, and we both stood there and kind of got an itch for it, but then you talk yourself out of it because we're like, no, because we know what's going to happen. It's either going to sit around or it's going to have a major problem. Something like that, and they ML like but someone could see that and go.
It had like 150,000 on, and it was around the 5 grand mark.
Yeah, someone could see that and go, a 5 grand Audi Allroad, but it's got an EML light on. Oh yeah, I'll have that. But then it turns out needs a new engine, or even worse,
chain,
because it's the parts cost with cars like that.
And that's what you'll do. So, just my opinion, if he goes out and buys all these lumpy German stuff with high mileage, he's then going to have all these problems, and it's going to knock your confidence, and then you're going to lose your drive. So the main thing is to get the cars in that aren't that problematic. I know I like Fiat 500s, but they've got no margin in. You've got to find some niche that is, like say, Focuses, Fiestas, and just keep turning them round. Because you're still going to get problems, but it's not going to be as bad as a big lumpy German thing. Yeah.
I suppose we've said this before, haven't we, in terms of like, just look at what everyone is actually buying, and that doesn't necessarily mean like follow the analytics on Auto Trader or whatever. Just like when you go to Tesco or something, have a look around the car park. I always do it, and it's like what makes up probably like 60% of the cars or something in here.
And your local Tesco.
Because if someone's had one, people are fickle, and they'll probably be like, if it's been a good car for him, I want another one of those. We get it all the time where you like swap like for like, don't you?
Yeah, like attracts like.
Exactly.
Attracts like.
So if locally to you, everyone seems to be buying like, I don't know, Mazda 2s or something, try and pick up a few Mazda 2s from elsewhere in the country.
I've had no problem selling Mazda 2s.
Yeah.
And then if you get a Mazda 2 with 50,000 miles on, it's going to be under 5 grand, and then that person will part exchange high possibility, well, good possibility, one with like 80,000 Mazda 2.
Or
and
something
then you can
else
sell
Japanese
that
with
on
a
for
good,
and then you get a chain going with your part exchanges.
That's the good thing that you need to do. And I think also as well, that comes back to that advice there we had about maybe buying only 10 or 15, because then if you've got money in the stock account, you can afford to go a bit further maybe on the part X's that you want.
Yeah.
Because once you get the chain going.
Because that's the other thing, if you've invested all your money in all them cars and then somebody comes with a part exchange,
you've got to be able to afford to buy it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because that's coming off the immediate margin on that particular car that you've sold in the hope of paying dividends when it comes to selling that one or keeping it flowing over, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So that's what I'd do. Yeah, that's what I'd do, definitely. But I'd be interested to see what other people say in the comments.
Yeah,
what they'd do.
Everyone's got different experiences, and also other people run the businesses different as well. So if you've got a little tip or trick that works for you, get it in, and we'll probably mention it in future if someone comes up to us and says it's a good idea. We might even try it in some cases if it's a good one. If it seems like if it's a shit one, no offence, we'll leave it, but but we won't tell you, don't worry.
And do you know the other thing is, I've been doing this 11, 12 years, and you're still learning all the time. So, for example, with all these newer cars, we're now getting rid of them, and we're actually going back down to cheaper cars. Yeah. Because we want to keep it flowing, don't we? This chap here can learn from our mistakes.
It's all trial and error, like you say. Even though you feel like you've got it right, something will change somewhere, and you'll end up having to do something different. But find what works for you as a basic way, and then don't be afraid of...
And then expand on it.
Don't be afraid of trying new things. Just don't invest too much money in trying that new thing up front, because if it goes tits up...
That's why people give up, isn't it? Yeah. They're going balls deep.
And then realise they can't make that pay.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep the money going round, definitely.
So I think on the back of that, what would be your... So ignore the 120 grand, limitless money. What would be your perfect dealership, your perfect trading site?
Like my perfect one. So it's like an ecosystem. Yeah, that's what I want.
You want the car trader ecosystem. Here's the geography teacher coming back out in me.
But I don't want a massive one. So like an ecosystem in the motor trade, if you look, is something like, for example, Stoneacre, what we've got round here. And basically they've got lots of different dealerships, and they sell all the cars, and then they get all the part X's, and then they've got an auction at Newark. Yeah. So all the part exchanges go to the auction at Newark. So they've just got this ecosystem of
all
cars
of that's just being redistributed, isn't it?
It's all being redistributed.
I suppose it's called like... someone will probably correct me, it's like hub and spoke, isn't it, where like Newark's the central, there's a nerve centre for like that dealer network, and then all the dealerships are just moving stock in and out of it, or moving staff in and out of it in some cases as well. It's
it's a system, isn't it? Yeah. And they've got because they're getting all new cars at Stoneacre, so they've got all the new cars, then they get second-hand part exchanges, but the near new stuff, what they think, this is lovely, so we'll retail this. Then all the stuff that's not up to their standard,
that's off into
auction. And they've got all their own mechanics, they've got all their own salespeople. It's just a lovely ecosystem of cars, isn't it? A bit like BCA as well,
BCA works a lot,
because it's we buy any car,
they've got that many feathers in there,
then it goes to BCA, then I think it's Cinch, they own Cinch as well. Yeah, they do. So the retail cars as well, so they've got like a monopoly, but I suppose there's a little bit of a monopoly. I would like not something like that. That's just that's gigantic.
Too much to manage.
I want a little version of that. So what do you call that then?
So that'd be like a microbiome. So you've got your big ecosystem, your biome. Then you've got like your little pond in the middle of it, full of tadpoles and frogs and whatever that don't live everywhere else. They just live in your little.
Right, that's what space. I want to be then.
You want to be a tadpole.
So so not tiny.
No.
Not like a tiny todger.
But in your own area, I think best example we've used this before. People like Gordon Lamb back in the day, and then like Grant and McCallan.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
they've got a
that's it.
few different sites in the same area, so they might have 2 or 3.
So I don't want 2 or 3.
sites?
I want everything in one place.
Right.
Yeah, because that James Sinclair, he always says, if you have one really good business, you can manage it, you know. So for me, my little ecosystem is probably 100 cars, 2 mechanics, 2 salesmen, me and you.
Yeah.
And
for 100.
2 valeters. Yeah, I think you could do
Yeah,
it.
I think we'll go with
or
that,
maybe 3, and then 2 valeters, and that's my little ecosystem. But Bynum's the bit of the bugger because you've got to go to the auction.
Yeah.
It would be better to get the buying nailed down, and then selling them's easy enough. But then the part exchanges that we don't want, I suppose it was trade to trade, part ex goals.
That's the thing, isn't it? I suppose we've got to get more into. We already do it to a certain extent, but you've got to have your good network for trading on the stuff that you can't retail. Yeah. And it's not just a case of sticking stuff on Auto Trader, spares and repairs. You've got to.
We just don't want to do that because then that wastes your time and my time.
That leaf.
Exactly. So that's my dream. Like
the dream is just manageable, but still probably like one of the biggest in the area, but not the biggest.
Just
in a way.
Yeah, not the biggest,
medium-sized, you know.
Just something that people really like.
Yeah.
You know, a great example is where I bought that camera from in Sheffield. What's it called?
Oh, Harrison's cameras.
Harrison's cameras. You know, it's an independent, and people love it.
You've got your Jepsons down the road, but everyone goes to Harrison's.
I would always go to an independent. Just me personally.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
100%.
And that's what I'd like to be. That's what I'd like it to be. It is like that at the minute, but we just haven't got the.
I suppose what you want is that notoriety in a local sense. That if people are looking at cars, they don't necessarily always go straight to Auto Trader. They'll check your website out first
that's
as well.
What you want, yeah.
Definitely. Or word of mouth, where it's like, my dad got a good car from there. Check them out first, and then you've got that reputation nailed, haven't you?
Just nice people. That's it.
Nice cars to nice people.
That's
what we always say. Nice and easy.
That's it.
I think that's more than enough for this week, then, isn't it? We've gone deep into that one. So, like we say, you've got any experiences, or you've got some ideas about what we've talked about you want to share. Just get the comments going. It's always good for us in the week, isn't it?
Because it gives us ideas as well.
Oh yeah.
Everyone putting stuff in the comments. Everyone can take a little bit from it.
Exactly.
You know, and think, I need to do that, I can do that, I can do this. Yeah.
We ought to start like a competition for the best comment a week or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Do that this
best
week.
Comment, we'll give it a shout out.
You give it a shout out and we'll pin it to the top of the comments as well.
All right, mate.
All right. No worries. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you soon.